Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to yet another video. So we have results out of the New Jersey governor primary, and there are no surprises at all. Like I've been saying for the past few months, the matchup was going to be Mikey Sherrill versus Jack Ciattarelli. And while there wasn't really any major surprises, I am going to go through the results and give you my takeaway. And yes, I am recording on my phone. It's just a little bit easier than using my laptop because the screen recording stuff I use is a pain in the ass. So, Mikey Sherrill was able to gather just a bit more than 1/3 of the total raw vote from her party. I will say I did not expect Baraka to come in second. I thought Fulop would come in second, and I didn't think it would be relatively close. I guess the numbers out of Essex, in Newark, and in Union County were enough to propel him to second place, those urban zones. And we did see in the Southwest, Spiller was able to win Cumberland County, and Sweeney was able to hold on to Gloucester and Salem. And then we have Gottheimer taking Bergen, and then every other county went to Mikey Sherrill. Overall, about 800,000 total Democrat votes, which is expected in a state where Democrats outnumber Republicans vastly in registration. And as far as the Republican primary, Jack Ciattarelli was able to secure 310,000 total votes, more than 2/3 of the total raw vote, over Bill Spadia's just under 100,000 votes. I did expect Bill Spadia to win a county or two, especially my home county of Ocean, which he did abysmally in. The best county for Bill Spadia, I believe, was Mercer. He came within 41 to 48 in Mercer, and he did well enough throughout the traditional blue belt, besides the urban centers in Newark and Jersey City, and Camden, but he did surprisingly well. These were under 20-point victories for Jack in Somerset, Union, Middlesex, Mercer, and Hunterdon. But that being said, Republicans got about 460,000 total votes, and Democrats got 800,000. But the key takeaway here is that Mikey Sherrill, while she is her party's nominee at this point, she only did so with about 1/3 of the total vote. So more than 60% of Democrats voted for somebody else to be the nominee. So what Mikey Sherrill has to do before anything else is unify her party, and that could be a daunting task. Jack, meanwhile, was able to win all 21 counties, and what that says is the Democrat Party is a lot less unified than the Republican Party is. The fact that Jack was able to get 310,000 votes to Mikey Sherrill's 270,000 votes shows that there's a much larger consensus as to who to back in the Republican Party than there is in the Democrat Party. So really, while a lot of Democrats are, flaunting their, oh, well, there's 800,000 total votes. Yeah, but how many of those people are going to rally back home to Mikey Sherrill at the end of the day? Especially Josh Gottheimer supporters, even Baraka supporters, I could see being hesitant to get on board with Mikey Sherrill right away. Full-op supporters, I'm a little less confident in. I'm sure they'll defect quite easily to Mikey Sherrill. They're not very... They're both quite establishment figures. Baraka was really the progressive choice for this primary, and his numbers reflect that, him coming in second place, in a strong second place. And then there's not really any surprises with Sean Spiller and Steve Sweeney. I knew they were going to do terribly. I might say that it's a bit of a shock that Spiller was able to break 10%, but that's really it. So where do I think the general election stands as of basically the middle of June? This will be my first forecast where the nominees are officially known. Although obviously, if you go to my last video, I had called that it would be Mikey Sherrill versus Jack Ciattarelli. The only discrepancy was I didn't know how to pronounce Mikey Sherrill's name, and I apologize for that. I thought it was Mickey. I just heard a lot of other people saying Mickey Sherrill, so I said Mickey Sherrill. It's Mikey. I found that out after actually seeing one of her TV ads for the first time where she talks about herself. But anyways, a lot of people don't know how to say Jack Ciattarelli either, but it's Ciattarelli. So on the map here, I'm going to go through and give you an updated forecast on where I think it stands as of now. And I'm going to keep doing these videos. I'm going to keep updating them. There will be minute differences, just like my presidential election predictions every couple of months. But we'll start off with the counties that are going to vote for either candidate by more than 10 percentage points or more. So we're going to start off with Jack Ciattarelli's safe counties. Ocean County, he's going to win by at least 30 points, maybe 32 points. Monmouth, also a safe victory. Cape May, Sussex, Warren, Hunterdon, Morris. Morris might be closer to single digits, but I still think Jack manages to get it by maybe 10 or 11 points. Gloucester is going to be safe, not by a lot, but it's going to be safe. And then the same thing with Salem and Cumberland. And Atlantic, I also think will be safe, probably by about 12 or 13 points for Jack. And so that's a pretty decent floor for Jack in terms of the rural and suburban vote. Ocean County has become a bulwark of the Republican Party in the state of New Jersey. About 600,000 people live in Ocean County, and it goes more than 2/3 Republican in almost every election. So moving on to Mikey Sherrill's safe counties, she will have Hudson, she'll have Essex and Union, she'll have Mercer, she'll have Camden, and that's really it, in my opinion. I don't see any of these other counties being safe. That being said, though, her margins in Hudson and Essex and Camden and Mercer are going to be substantial. So when you look at this map and you say, oh, there's a lot of red and not a lot of blue, well, that's true, but only geographically. Really, so far, what I've filled out, population-wise, they're quite equal. So here we have the 2021 gubernatorial race results between Phil Murphy and Jack Ciattarelli. As you know, Jack ran 4 years prior and lost only by 3 points to Phil Murphy. And what we can see here is Phil Murphy was able to hold on to all of the outstanding counties that I have on my map. That includes Passaic, Bergen, Middlesex, Somerset, and Burlington. So where we're at now is either by how much of the margins can Jack eat up from 2021 to get him over that 3-point deficit that he needs to make up, or what counties, if any, can he flip. I do think there are at least 2 counties he can flip, and that would be Somerset and Passaic. I think he has a good shot at flipping those 2 counties. Somerset by only 4 points he has to make up, and in Passaic actually by a very similar, exact same margin in Passaic and Somerset, which is quite astonishing. As far as Burlington and Middlesex and Bergen, I'm a little less confident that he can flip those counties, but I do think he'll be able to make up the margins by a little bit and improve from his numbers in 2021. Furthermore, looking at the 2024 presidential election results in New Jersey, we can see Trump was able to flip Passaic by a few points. He got Bergen into 3-point territory, and Burlington kind of swayed further to the left, which really doesn't help the case for Burlington flipping this cycle. And then he also got Middlesex under 10, and Somerset. Not a great performance out of Somerset for Donald Trump. But in terms of, comparing a presidential year to a governor year, New Jersey does tend to vote furthest to the right on the gubernatorial level. out of any other election, whether it be senatorial or presidential. New Jersey always votes furthest to the right for governor. So where do I see these remaining counties standing? I'll start with Middlesex. Middlesex will be a likely victory for Mikey Sherrill, probably around the 8-point range. That'll be her strongest performance out of these remaining counties. And then you have Bergen. I think Bergen probably goes lean to tilt for Mikey Sherrill. I'll keep it lean for now. And same thing to say for Burlington. I think she picks off Burlington by a few points. And that really just leaves us with Passaic and Somerset. And I'm going to go ahead and say that Jack pulls off Passaic by a lean margin. Maybe tilt. It'll be close, but I do think he's able to pick off Passaic from 2021, which already helps him with his margins. Again, only a 3-point deficit that he has to make up from 2021 to 2025. And, keep in mind, this is a state that shifted 10 points to the right from 2020 to 2024 on a presidential level. Biden won New Jersey by 16 points in 2020. And just 1 year later, Jack was able to bring those margins down to a 3-point victory for an incumbent Democrat governor, Phil Murphy. And then in 2024, Donald Trump was able to get the state within 6 points. The New Jersey shift is real. I do think New Jersey's an emerging swing state. And regardless of whether Jack Ciattarelli wins this election or not, it will be by it'll be a less than 5-point victory for either candidate. And this is supposedly a deep blue state. It's not anymore. It isn't. And I will stand by that through November, regardless of who wins. I think Jack Ciattarelli is currently favored to win. And I think that he will take Somerset. It'll be his second flip. I think he tilts Somerset in his column. And so that leaves us with the filled out county map for right now for, I believe it's June 12th that I'm recording this. And so what does this map mean? I do think Jack's able to win the popular vote overall across the state. Not by a lot, by maybe a point or two. I think he's able to break 50% of the vote, just barely. And that's of right now. I think all the metrics point in his favor. I think he's going to run a very grounded campaign. He's going to focus on the issues. He's going to attack Mikey Sherrill when it's necessary, especially with things such as her investments. And, stuff that resonates with New Jersey voters. And we'll have to see if Mikey Sherrill's able to unify the Democratic base around her. It's too early to say whether she's able to do that or not. But as of right now, I think she faces some real unity problems within the Democratic Party. Jack will have to reconcile with Bill Spadia voters because they are a solid fifth of the Republican electorate. But I think he will be able to do that quite effectively, especially with his endorsement from Donald Trump. So with that being said, that's where my prediction stands for New Jersey governor. And stay tuned for the next video. I'll probably be posting my Senate predictions sometime soon. But other than that, more videos in the works. So if you enjoyed, leave a like and stay tuned for the next video. Peace.